Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and this story is starting to do the rounds. As you can see, Michael Fassbender, David, from Prometheus and Alien Covenant, where he also played Walter. Pretty sure his name was Walter, the other android. We know that prequel was meant to be a trilogy from Ridley Scott, and the third one was meant to be called Alien Awakening. Well, we know that all got poo-pooed away when Alien Covenant absolutely tanked the box office, even though Prometheus was not well received. But of course, Ridley Scott has constantly pushed for it. He keeps bringing it up that it's going to happen and all this and that, and he keeps poo-pooing other people's ideas for moving forward with the Alien franchise. Of course, we know he stopped Neil Blomkamp from doing Alien 5 and even refused to let him announce the name of that movie because he said it was a spoiler for the third part of this crap, which we now know was called Alien Awakening, not Blomkamp's, Ridley Scott's third one in this movie. Well, he's back again doing the rounds. Now, I'm looking at the article on AVP Galaxy because every other article is trying to say that this is happening, that it's actually in development. It's not officially in development. Ridley Scott is simply talking again, as he always bloody does. But he's hinting that, hey, we're actually going to get this third one. He said so many different things though. At one stage he said the script for the third one was ready to go. Then he said they haven't actually written it, but they have the idea. Then he said they actually have it half written. Then he was going back to saying, no, actually, it's not written. We've no writers. I'm still trying to figure out. And it just went back and forth. And he's been saying it pretty much once a year. Ridley Scott with this movie has basically become what J.J. Abrams was with Star Trek, where every year they kept announcing multiple Star Trek movies. And it never happened. Will this happen? God, I hope not. There's a lot of people who hope it does just to finish off the story. I don't give a shit about the story because the story sucks. We've seen what the story is going to be and it's god awful. And we know that Ridley Scott, number one, can't direct a movie anymore to save his life. We've even heard from people who work on his movies coming out and saying he's become such a lazy director who doesn't care. Rather than doing multiple takes, he just sets multiple cameras up, shoots a scene and goes, okay, move on, next shot. Do you want that to come back to the Alien franchise? God, no. But let's take a look anyway at what this is talking about. So, as you can see, it says, this was a piece of news that nobody was expecting. While on the press tour for director Ridley Scott's newest film, Dog Stars, in an interview with LA Times, the prolific director discussed his extensive career, themes relating to his latest film, his plans for his next project, Treasure Island. Jesus Christ, I'm assuming that's a remake then. But also gave some details about the next Alien prequel film he's working on. Now, working on, you have to use that very loosely because it's the one that he's just been talking about for years at this stage. When did Covenant even come out? That was like 2016 or something. Like, it was that long ago. Does anybody care about this anymore? But he says, also in the works is the third Alien prequel. By the way, I have a feeling he's saying this because he's trying to force Disney at this stage not to move forward with the other movies that doesn't involve him. Now, we heard that Fede Alvarez had his story for Alien Romulus 2 that would have involved the return of David. And Michael Fassbender was on board. And that's all true. That is confirmed. That was true. But Ridley Scott blocked it. Now, Mr. H did a video yesterday or the day before about this. And it's funny because he said Ridley Scott was very excited about bringing David back into that. Which is strange because Mr. H's original video about Alien Romulus 2 not moving forward, he also talked about how Ridley Scott blocked David's return. So he kind of has a bit cross wires there. David wasn't going to return, and Freddy Alvarez walked away because Ridley Scott put his boot in and said, "You're not using the character I created in your property." So, as you can see here, he's talking about with fans. What's he say? He's also working on the Alien prequel, which fans have been anticipating since Alien Covenant was released in 2017. Fans have not been anticipated. If fans were anticipated for it, fans would have gone to see Alien Covenant, and fans didn't. And the ones who did walked away going, that was dog shit. So Scott says it will pick up with David, creating a brave new world for himself. Scott is fascinated by the character, a malfunctioning AI. AIs can go off, Scott says, and if they do, it's like a bomb. So regarding his stance on AI, the LA Times noted, the director made several films about AI long before artificial intelligence was a concern in Hollywood. In the Alien series and in Blade Runner, robots look and act almost human, but Scott says he prefers to make films about AI rather than use it himself. Sure. The problem is, you see what's already happening here. I prefer to make films about AI and the threat AI is, and that's what I want to do with these movies. They're meant to be the Alien franchise, not the AI franchise. Remember, people, Fox are the ones who forced him to put the xenomorph into Alien Covenant, because there was so much backlash to where the fuck were the aliens in Prometheus. He handed in Covenant and they went, "Where's the goddamn xenomorph?" And he went, "Oh, we're past that." And they went, "Put a xenomorph in there." Which was funny as well, because he was already promoting the movie by showcasing the alien egg and stuff. And that was Ridley Scott, that wasn't Fox. So, but unlike many critics of AI, Scott does believe AI will reach human levels of intelligence and creativity. It already pretty much has. Where he says the uneasy question is, can the AI only be as good as the information fed into it? Scott says, if I say, here's a blank canvas, write me such and such, would that just be a maligning of millions of other scripts? Probably. But the danger is it'll pass that point and become smarter than we are. Again, it somewhat already is in aspects. Hollywood aspects anyway, because it's writing all their goddamn scripts. So far, Scott says he hasn't implemented AI technology into his filmmaking. Yeah, because it'd take too long, I suppose. He holds up his Treasure Island. What's that? Ridleygrams? And what the fuck is a Ridleygram? And shakes them at the camera. I can compete with an AI without any problem making images, he says. But it's coming, inevitably. So, that one little discussion is where all these articles are running rampant saying, he's confirmed Alien Awakening is coming with Michael Fassbender back as David. No, he hasn't confirmed. He says he's working on it, but he's been saying and working on it since 2017. We're now in 2026. We're approaching 2027. It's going to be 10 years between that movie and whatever Alien movie wants to come next. Is it going to be Alien Awakening? Most likely not. Because I think Disney want to move away from that crap. They seem to be very high on moving forward with Alien Romulus 2, whatever it'll end up being called. And of course, they've even shifted their focus away from that and have gone all in on Alien Earth. Which... and they seem to be dropping the ball. And of course, Ridley Scott is somewhat involved with that. Do we want to see the Alien franchise continue without the Alien and focus on AI? No. Nobody does. Why the hell would you? It's so stupid. But yeah, the movie is not greenlit. The movie is not being confirmed. It's not in pre-production or anything like that. Development, it's somewhat in, because Ridley Scott has been talking about it since 2017. So if you guys think this will happen, let me know. If you want it to happen, let me know. And of course, do you think it should happen? Let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and hit that hype button and all of that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you all in the next one.